It's not about us, it's all about you.
Love and service, that's what we do.
Concrete Cowboy. Concrete Cowboy.
That's what we do.
Hello, Utah. My name is Nathan Nelson, the Concrete Cowboy. Utah. My name is Nathan Nelson. I am the owner of Concrete Cowboy of Utah, and I am sitting with the one and only Jennifer Yo, and I am super excited to collaborate with her and have a conversation that actually carries depth and weight. And Jennifer Yao, I was so intrigued by her. I came to a show to visit Peter Anthony, and they sat me right next to her, and I felt this energy. I felt this vibe. I just felt energy, and I don't know. That's one of my gifts. Just so you know,
I love that.
Felt a little bit of energy, and Jennifer asked me if I would do a podcast, and I was like, when they were talking about a podcast, and I was like, I don't know. And the more I learned about Jennifer, I was getting 100% sold on it, and I don't even know you, and but I do know. That I am so intrigued by you because what I've read about you and what I've learned about you and when I've talked to other people about you and what they've said about you has even made me more motivated to see who Jennifer Yo is and, learn more about her and maybe even be a part of whatever, even if it's a small part, like a little concrete job or something. But
you're so kind.
You gave my daughter a book and you gave my son a book. And when I started to read more about you and to see that you have over 600 agents, you did 1.2 billion with a B in sales. With a B.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
1 year.
That is absolutely amazing. And then I learned that you have some restaurants and you probably have a whole lot more, or I don't know. And this is what I've learned so far about you. And one of the things that absolutely amazed me is I surround myself with businessmen my entire life. Mm-hmm. And there are so many incredible business women out there as well. But when I meet somebody that has done your numbers and what you have achieved and just your energy and your vibe that I felt when I came into the room, I was like, I got to know this person.
So kind. Thank you.
And I'm so grateful that, that you actually took the time out and we both took the time out to meet with each other and learn about each other. And matter of fact, I'm just going to ask, why did you take the time to sit down with the Concrete Cowboy of Utah? Because it's an honor to be with you.
Well, it cracks me up because I was equally as intrigued when I met you because you instantly told me your story about you building another business and then basically selling it and then turning into concrete. And you told me the story about it. And I was so fascinated with this. I was like, Nathan, have you been on a podcast before yet? And you were like, no. And I was like, you have to tell this story. This is such a great story. And I was kind of in a bad mood that night and it totally changed my night. I was like, this is so cool to sit next to this guy. So I'm equally as intrigued. So thank you for having me.
Yes, it's my honor. I got to ask you, what made you want to start Presidio on your own? I kind of read a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you were working for somebody and you learned the business a little bit, and then you went out there and started your own. And how old were you when you started your own?
Yeah, I had to have been, 33 when I started it. And I was working for a builder and he just begged me to start my own company. And I was like, I hadn't really thought of that, but okay, I'll do it. He was a great friend of mine, good builder. And we went through 2011 together and it was tough back then to sell houses. And so I had to kind of get scrappy and learn some things that I never thought I'd have to learn. And then when I couldn't sell his houses, I was like, well, I have a brokerage, so I better figure out what to do with this brokerage, right? So I just dug in and started building a company that I didn't ever plan on building.
So how do you start a brokerage when you're just a real estate agent and then you want to take it to the next level and be a broker?
You just do what every business owner does. You go and you file an LLC, you get a business and you start putting money into it and start marketing yourself and grow. So it's pretty basic. That's what I did.
Was this your first business?
I've had little teeny businesses before, nothing to the scale of success like this, but this was one I just poured my whole heart and soul into. So
when you say little teeny businesses, what did you do before real estate?
I had like a swimsuit business where I was selling swimsuits. I had a couple other little things here and there that I was doing, but nothing major, So, but I think you should tell how you got into concrete. This is the best story ever. And I think the listeners need to hear this.
Okay. All right. So when I was 15 years old, I got recruited to do home security and door to door, go back east, make it happen. And I watched this guy have this amazing, beautiful company. And when I became 18, I became a dealer for a satellite company in a home.
18?
At 18, I said, I remember I was so proud. I was so proud. Like when everybody raised their hand at 8 years old, and I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a president of the United States of America. I want to be the Speaker of the House, or I want to be a businessman. I want to be a businessman.
You knew at 18.
At 8 years
at
age.
8. That's so cool.
And, but anyways, at 18, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And so I did exactly what you said. I just went down to the state, went down to Doppel, got the license, articles of corporate insurance, blah, blah. And next thing you know, I become a dealer for a satellite company. And then I become a dealer for a home security company. And I was hiring 5,000 guys a year. And I had that bad boy for 21 years. 21 years. Wow. And I had it all wrong. Trust me. I had it all wrong.
I don't know how you can get it wrong with 5,000 people a year. Listen,
to make it fun and to do numbers and to make it happen, you gotta to play in that field. You gotta have lots of bodies. I don't know if that's the right word.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the day, it's all I knew. From 15 years old to 39. I did home security and satellite, and set the ego aside. I was the best. I was the number one dealer in the entire country. There was maybe back and forth 1 and 3.
That is crazy. And number one in the country, that young.
Yeah, you know what? They gave me my first NFL game I ever went to. I was honored. It was the Super Bowl. In 2011, I got to take my dad. We went and saw Green Bay and the Steelers at the Cowboy stadiums. And I was so proud that moment that I was able to take my dad to that game. Aww, it was so beautiful.
That's beautiful.
It was 5 days of I won't even say, but my dad's like, yeah, you do your thing, But we had a beautiful time.
They say there's a lot of marks in when you're getting to success. And I bet that was one of those moments when you were like, this feels like success to me. But then you continue to press on and keep doing more. But when you can take your dad to an NFL game, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then take your son to it. But it was the Super Bowl.
That's so cool.
That was my first one.
That's so cool.
But, at the end of the day, TV started to change. Blockbuster went away. Then free TV was coming out. Then all these other apps and everything else started to come out. I knew this in 2012. I just kept going. I built, because it's fun, when you get residual income and you have 500,000 customers and you're changing people's lives and doing what I had to do in satellite and home security to do what would take a concrete man probably 20 years to get to. I know this sounds like ego, but I'm going to set that aside because I really did have it all wrong. I really did have it all wrong. I thought I would get you to love me or my family or my friends to love me if I was number one. How much I had in the bank, the awards. That's how I thought I'd get the respect from the people and my family.
I can relate to that.
But I had it all wrong. Yeah. It took so many years for me to realize I had it all wrong.
Wow.
And now it's like fifth on my list, because, even when I had enough, it wasn't enough. But, and then when I sold the company, and I remember when I got the company, my very first day, though, I do want to share this. I ran home and I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm a businessman.
Oh, that's awesome.
I showed him my license. I showed my license, my insurance and all that. Now what do I do?
Exactly.
What do I do now?
Exactly. What's next?
Knock on a door. And that's what we did for many years until I didn't have to knock on doors. But when I had to, I'd be back out there and make it happen. And we changed a lot of lives. It was amazing. Some men stayed with me for 20 years.
That's impressive.
Of course, life expectancy is like 8 to 12 months, but
In door-to-door sales?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I had guys that stayed with me for 20 years.
Wow, that says a
Like
lot.
a core of like 20.
Yeah.
And then installers, they stayed with me forever.
That's really
you
cool.
know? So to keep it short, this is probably way too long, but I do want to share this with you, how I got in the concrete game.
Yeah. It's so good.
I had 500,000. It was my trophy. I had 500,000 customers in my garage. I kept every one of them. And even all my awards that I used to hang up, they're in a box now, but they still, at that time, it was so special.
Yeah.
But I'm in the garage because what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now?
This is after you sold the company?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I took like a year of like amazing. It was the best thing I ever did for myself. I took time for me and in a good way. But I wanted to share this with you. I was getting bored. And so I ended up going in my garage, like, what am I going to do? And I'm scared to death. Like, all I know how to do is satellite. That's all I know how to do. I know how to hire. I know how to recruit. I know how to train, motivate, teach, and I know how to get numbers. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so I ended up grabbing these files. Hey, remember me 20 years ago? This is Nathan Nelson. I put your satellite in, I installed it. We do Christmas lights, we do landscape, we do solar, we do snow removal, we do pest control, we do concrete. And this was like my third call. And the guy's like, you do concrete? And I said, yeah, I do concrete. And he gives me the address. He goes, come give me a concrete bid. And I'm like, okay, I'll be right up there, sir. And so I hurried up and I got on Google. I don't know anybody in the concrete business. I can't just go ask somebody. And so I'm learning as much as I can on Google.
Because you really didn't do concrete, right?
No, but you have to start somewhere. And,
Totally.
I sold the company. Now what do I do? So
Right.
guy says concrete. I wanted to see what would hit. And I ended up Googling, I don't know what microfiber is. I don't know what a 6.5 bag is. I don't know what rebar is. I don't know what road base is. I don't know what forms are. I don't know what a foreman is. What's that guy wearing a hard hat for? Why is that guy looking clean and all his men are dirty? I don't know any of this. And so I get on and they're like, oh, it's this much a foot. Who's the concrete suppliers? Tell me more about concrete. So anyways, he gives me the address and I see a university. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I see this construction site and I see probably 100 men and I see hard hats and I see a guy come walking over to me about my age. And I see that this is a major project and I'm in trouble. Like, what am I going to do? So I'm talking to the guy and he's like, okay, Nathan, I want 3 pickleball courts. I want a beach volleyball court, and you're going to build a 12-story garage. And you see that pole over there? I want to have the pool deck done. And in my mind, I'm like, what is a pool deck? What is a pool deck? I knew what the other stuff, the pickleball court. And so I'm walking around this place with him, and he goes, yeah, Nathan, you see all these hard hats? You see there's the general contractor. There's the foreman. There's the project manager. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, these are things I need to learn. And so I'm talking to him and he stops me in mid-track and he says, Nathan, you don't know nothing about concrete. And I said,
He called you out.
yes. And so I said, sir,
Were you sweating?
I was being as best as I could be.
Yeah.
And I go, you're right, sir. You're 100% right, but you got to start somewhere.
Oh, I love that.
And he started to laugh. And he goes, Nathan, tell me about you. And so we walked this for probably an hour. And I told him my entire life story. I told him who I am, what I'm about, and what I've done, and what I stand for.
Yeah.
And the guy liked me. He gave me a chance. And he goes, okay, Nathan, I already know you can recruit. I know what you're going to be able to do. Go get licensed, go get insured, and you better get me the best men that can build me a pickleball court, 3 of them, a beach volleyball court, a garage, pathway, and a pool deck. And we're going to all be watching you. And if you screw up, you're a dead man is pretty much what he said to me,
sure.
And so I ended up doing what I do best, recruiting. And I found people that absolutely knew the game of concrete, and they're still with me today.
That's so
And
cool.
those people have doubled their salary, are now homeowners, drive big trucks, have lots of machinery, and they're still with me today. So when I recruited these men, though, I did tell them, I said, look, what are they paying you a year? I watched them for 2 weeks because I saw the guy that was wearing a suit and a clipboard, and then I saw the guy that wore the hard hat and all the men that were running to him, and I figured, okay, maybe he's the boss. Finally, I went up to him and I said, listen, I need to go build 3 pickleball courts, a beach volleyball court, a 12-man garage, 12-story garage, a pool deck, and a pathway. And it's $100 million project, and we get a piece of it. Are you interested? Yeah. How much are they paying you a year? Okay. I'm going to double that. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you right now. I'm going to give you a $10,000 sign-on bonus, but I'm only going to give you 5. When the guy says good job and gives me a high 5 at the end, I'm going to give you another 5. I want you to take the 3 best people, and those 3 people will get $5,000 after the job and after I get a high 5 and make it look amazing. What's a boom pump? And this big thing came up and I'm like, what is it? So these are all things that I've learned. Those men are still with me today. And I probably recruited over 500 and flipped the script. Instead of 5,000 sales reps, I recruited 500 workers, went through a lot of, they say, basura, garbage, and found 50 great men of honor to do what we do to make people's concrete dreams become a reality.
That's so cool.
And
that's the best story. You know, my favorite part about that is, Nathan, you believed in yourself so much that you were willing to tell the guy that you could do anything. Even though you hadn't done it before, you knew you could because you had created enough trust in what you built that you could say, I could do that. And I freaking love it. And then you went out and you did it and you figured it out and you grew something today that is amazing. Concrete Cowboy, Utah. And look at you. This is so inspiring. Not to mention, you gave so many people jobs, you gave so many people income, and you changed their lives. That's really cool.
It's very similar what you and I have done, but maybe it's similar in a general way. You have over 600 agents. How did you do that? Tell me, how did you build Presidio to become the empire that it is today?
Yeah, it's a lot like you did. You learn one lesson every day and you keep moving forward. But in the same sense, I built it based off of a need that really was in the marketplace. Like there was nothing out there that was based on ethics only. And, that's one of our biggest things as realtors is having high ethics. And so for me, it was like, I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find a brokerage that was like holding higher standards than what the division required. And the division was so minimal. The bar is so low that I was like, I've got to change this. And I knew there was enough agents out there that would resonate with, that they'd be like, man, we are helping people with their homes, their lives. This is their biggest assets. If we can't do it better, we're going to have this name that nobody's going to like. So the top 3 most untrusted professions are car salesmen, lawyers, and realtors. And that broke my heart because when I first sold my first home and I watched a homeowner cry that his kids were going to play in the backyard, I realized how important this job was. I realized how important my role was. It wasn't just about a commission. And I knew that there was enough realtors out there that felt the exact same way, that all I had to do was make sure that I had the standard higher, the bar raised, the standard was higher, and what I required as a broker. If you didn't want to be a part of that, then go be at another brokerage. And it just started to, like, people were coming over in droves. This is important to me too. The general public deserves a professional that represents them in a way that changes their lives. And so it's really fascinating to see how many people really genuinely care about their clients. And then there's a dichotomy. There's also that other side of the industry that there's people that just don't care. So it gave me a good marketplace to start building a company that was based on ethics. So that was my story.
Awesome. So recruiting that many agents, how is the retention? Are you able to keep them or do you got to keep bringing them in?
Markets shift. And so that changes a lot on retention. But for about 6 years, we hardly lost anybody. I mean, if they didn't want to renew their license, that was anything. So we had a really high retention rate. And then the market shifted. And oftentimes people end up finding either another brokerage that was cheaper or something like that, or something that they had more needs in, that type of thing. But yeah, it's kind of a transient business. People change all the time. They think the grass is greener. They think that some brokerage is going to solve their problems and make them make way more money. But really focusing on what you do to be the best that you can be is what's going to make you money no matter what the brokerage that you're at. So
what type of culture do you create in your company?
So we really like to base our culture on like a family feel. I know that's kind of an overused term, but you belong here. You're part of something bigger. And what it is we're making a dent in the industry. We're trying to do things differently. We're trying to have better ethics, better standards, these rules that make us better, knowledge, way more knowledge. I train. So the division of real estate requires 18 hours every 2 years. That's ridiculous. To get a hair license to cut hair, you have to have 2,100 hours. It's 18 hours. It's so ridiculous. So for me, I'm educating nonstop. We offer 365 hours a year. So it's like, come learn, be the best that you can be in this industry. And we have agents that love that. So
do you train? Do you personally go out there and train these agents?
Yeah.
Okay.
About once a month, I'm teaching a class, but I have a education director that does most of the training at this point. I've got to, I'm starting to do other businesses and stuff like that, and I still help people buy and sell homes. So
awesome.
It's hard to leave that part of the business when you have clientele for the last 20 years.
So what about when, everything's good, when people are closing and making deals happen, and when you have one of your top agents or somebody that that has potential, and it gets tough, and you see their true colors, and what is it that you really look for in an individual when they're coming to work for you and sell homes?
Well, it's funny because I'm completely different than most brokers. And I don't want to bore you with this, but most brokers are like, what are you going to do for me? How much money are you going to make me? But they don't say that, but that's really what they mean. Mm-hmm. And my 3 questions that I ask any agent that comes in and interviews with me is, can you stay educated? Can you treat the public fairly? And can you treat other agents fairly? If you can do those 3 things, you belong at Presidio. And that's the game changer for me, because it's not how much are you going to produce, how much it allows them to be better people and then go out and sell homes for people that they don't feel this pressure of like, oh, my broker just needs me to produce. I don't look at it that way. So.
And let me ask you a question, because, like as a realtor or an agent, why be in the game if you're only selling 1 or 2 a year? I mean, it'd be no fun. I mean, how do you get an agent to really step up that wants to just fill that next level? Yeah,
see, that's the thing. I mean, you basically own your own company when you're a realtor. You're a 1099, right? So you have to figure out what it is you want. But the truth is, there are stay-at-home moms that do this on the side. There are retirees that do this on the side. And so 1 or 2 homes for them might be all they need. And so you can't really look at an agent and go, gosh, that agent needs to be doing 20 deals a year or they're nothing to me. You have to look at it uniquely. Every single person has a unique life that they're going, listen, I really only need to sell 5 homes a year and I'm good with that. Or I get somebody that's really eager and comes in and says, I got to sell 40 homes this year. Great. Let's get you there. So how long have you been in business for? 15 years. 15 years. I started the company 15 years ago. So 15 years is a long time. I know what it's like to be in business for a long time as well. So let me ask you this. In the beginning days or in the middle or towards where you're at now, when it has been absolutely tough and you're like, you had thoughts about what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Or how did you, when you had a failure in your business, how did you overcome it and not give up? Yeah, I think 15 years. Yeah, it's true. But just like you, when you start to build something that you bring people on, man, I look at those people like they're dependent on me. And if I was just to quit and give up when it gets hard, then they all lose. And so you start to feel responsibility for the people that you brought into your fold, and you start going, hey, this is my life. This is my career. And I'm going to be the best that I can be, regardless to how hard it gets. And man, if you're a business owner, there are so many hard times. There's especially in real estate, and I don't know if it's the same in your career, but there's so many days that you're going, why do I do this? Why? And then there's days that you're like, now I know why, right? And so you have these highs and these lows. It's like a roller coaster, but it's just one of those things where you feel this massive weight of responsibility for other people. And when you're building a business for that reason and not for your own pocketbook, not for your own success, that type of thing, it's a totally different game changer. You get up every morning for other people.
So Jennifer, to grow a company in that size, when did you have to think, I'm going to need some investment money?
I never got any investment money.
Did you ever think about it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In my book, you'll read where I went to the bank because I was just scrappy and hustling and getting my own deals and then putting all that money back into my company. And it just got to a place where I was like, man, I'd like to enjoy some of my commissions, right? And I was just at the place where I was like, let me see if a bank will give me a loan at this point. I think it was three years into the business or something. And I felt like I had an established business in a way that they would loan me, but it was still 2013 or something. And they were just like, no. And it was devastating. I'm like, what? I'm a business owner. I've built this and you're telling me no. And it was almost embarrassing in a way. I felt shameful. I felt embarrassed that I couldn't get a loan. And yet it put a fire underneath me like nobody's business. It was like, fine, don't give me a loan. Watch me. And that's where, I grew this business never taking out a loan.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I wanted to ask you, so Jen, when you're running and you're building a business, I know what it takes for me to do what I got to do. How do you balance your family when you're running a company that does $1 billion in sales and 600 agents and your time and everybody's pulling at you, wants a piece of you? How do you balance your family?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And to be honest with you, there's no such thing as balance when you're building a business. And so it has to become more like an integration. And I'm so grateful that I had a husband, but believe me, there was a time when my husband came to me and he was so supportive in the growth of this. And he could tell that it was going places and it was worthwhile a lot of my time, but I would work 12 to 15 hour days. And I'd still be on my phone when I'm at home, just finishing up and taking care of agents and that type of thing. And there was a day when he came to me and he was kind of like, hey, things have got to change. And I was like, wait, where'd my supportive husband go? Right. And then I realized how much he had sacrificed for me to build. And that changed a lot of things for me. It was kind of like, okay. So I begged him to give me 2 more years of letting me build. I said, just please give me 2 more years. I know where I'm going and I know what's going to happen. And he was kind of like, okay, even though he was uncomfortable, he wasn't happy with how much time I was giving to the company and not to him. And within 2 years, I kept my promise of like, I will be home at 5 o'clock every day and have dinner with you. And then we're going to have this and that and this. And he's so grateful that he hung in there because I have a normal life now, but I shouldn't say normal. It's just integrated. My business is integrated with what I do all day, every day. And so I think a true business owner does that.
How has your husband aided you in all of your success?
Just being massively supporting and cheerleader and believing in me. I think maybe you had somebody in your life that believed in you. That's like a massive game changer. When someone believes in you, it's like you don't want to let them down. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. He believes in me, right? So I think that was probably the biggest thing with him, that he supported me and believed in me, and he was just patient and kind and like, you got this. I believe in you. Did you have somebody like that when you were building?
Yeah. Okay. I also, so you got Presidio. Do you have other ventures, other businesses? What else do you do in Utah or elsewhere? Yeah,
I just opened up a restaurant out in Daybreak called the Lake Break. And that's a whole new venture. I've never done anything like that. And so this one's a massive risk for me. But I have a chef that I love and he's amazing. And so I think it'll be a really good thing. But it's just 2 months open. So brand new, really just trying to figure out this business. But it's fun. It's a challenge. I love challenges. I love new businesses. I've started multiple businesses since I opened Presidio. A lot of them failed. And that's okay. You move right on, you pivot, you go, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else, right? So I'm not like this total success. I still have my failures, but the greatest thing is I think I learn more from my failures than I ever do my successes. Every one of those is like, now I see who I am, what I want, what I need to do, all those things. But before an ace in the hole, you just are like, cool, keep going.
What is it? What type of vibe is it? What kind of food is it?
That's a American flair with a lot of fish. So it's called the Lake Break, and we're right on the lake in Daybreak. So you get this like coastal feel with water and all that stuff. And so we've got an incredible sea bass if you like fish. Really great, lots of great fish. And but we still have steaks and salads and pastas and all those things too. So
Okay. Is it fine dining?
No, it's like come on in with your board shorts, but also come on in on a nice date night and feel great. It is it's Daybreak, and they're a mixture of all sorts of demographics, and so we fit that demographic perfectly.
So you got you wrote a book. What inspired you to write a book, and how long did you think about writing a book before? It's two questions before you took action and did it.
You know, I was talking to someone earlier today, and it was like, she said something like, are you a Leo or something? I'm like, no, what's the characteristic of a Leo? And she said, wanting to be in the spotlight all the time. And I said, it's so funny because I majored in computer science. Like, I'm such a nerd, and I would so love to be behind the camera, behind the screen and be that person. But because of what I built, I've been pushed into the spotlight. In fact, I had a reality TV show. They called me and said, you built something cool. Can we do a show about you? And I've been pushed into the spotlight enough that I realized that I have a responsibility to share my experience of growing a business and being an entrepreneur with people that might want to do that someday. As much as I don't want to, I don't like being in the spotlight. It's not my comfort zone at all. I do it because there's other people out there that maybe just need that extra push that goes, if she can do it, I can do it. Yeah.
So on the reality TV show, let me ask you a question. Did it help your business or did it hurt your business?
100% of both. It helped and it hurt. And I knew it would be that polarizing, and I knew it was a massive risk, but I also knew that what I believe in and what I stand for is taking every opportunity that comes your way. And this was an opportunity. You don't get NBC to knock on your door without knowing that this could be really good and really bad. And it was both. And I'm grateful for the opportunity because I learned a lot, and yet, you know, there was a lot of loss that came with it too, and that was interesting. It revealed a lot of people how they feel and think about those types of things, reality TV shows and stuff. And you know, I'm not a huge reality TV fan, but I built a business, and when they came to me and said, "Do you want to be on Housewives?" I was like, "No, not for me." Do you want to do a real estate show? Sure, that's my life. I could do that. And so they were just impressed with what I built, and they wanted to do that. And I'm grateful for that platform that they gave me. And it's opened a lot more doors for me, and I'm really grateful for that. But I also feel like there's a lot of people that judge me from it, and that's harsh because it wasn't like, I hope they look at it like she took an opportunity because she got the opportunity.
Were you able to be yourself on that show?
I really think I was for the most part. Granted, the editing doesn't always portray exactly how the moment went. So as I watched it back as in real time with the rest of the world, it was like, oh, that's actually not what happened in that scene. But it's okay. The people that actually know me and want to know me, they get to know the real me. On TV, it's not the real me. And it was funny how many friends called and said, "Oh, that wasn't you, Jen." I was like, "You're right, it wasn't." So it was really interesting. But I wrote the book afterwards to kind of set the stage of, sure, I built a business. Sure, I did some cool things, but really, this is like the brass tacks of how the American dream. You can do this. Anyone can do this. Let me show, if I can do it, you can do it. Let me show you what it actually is. And the reality TV show was based more on drama. And there's not a lot of drama in my life. I put my head down like you do, and I work. And so to have it a light shined on it, like I have a lot of drama in my life or my business, which is very not true, that was hard. But the truth is, you know, I built a business and I can show you how to do that. And so that's what I did with my book.
That's amazing. You know, let me ask you, in the morning, do you have a discipline that you do every single morning? Like a ritual?
I do.
Me too, but go ahead.
Okay. I take a bath every single morning. And during that bath, I'm doing breath work and, meditation type stuff. It is the only me time I get in the day. So every single morning a bath. And I get up early on days that I have to go to fill up that bathtub and sit in there and meditate.
Every morning, are you consistent with this?
I'm so consistent. I would say on a day that I have to take a shower, it'd be like I'm in a hotel room that doesn't have a bath.
Meditation. Give me just one example of
Well, a lot of it's affirmations. A lot of it's just like, being self-assured and having self-confidence and self-respect. So a lot of it is going through a lot of that and reminding myself that despite what other people think of me, I know who I am and I know what I've built and I know those things and I have some self-respect because of that.
So
what's your daily? I want to hear.
Okay. And I am consistent.
Good. I love this.
I love this because before it was emails.
Oh,
look at the bank. What am I going to prepare for my training? I'm going to have 100 guys in my room. Mapping out the day and going off immediately. So this was about 10 years ago. I had somebody suggest, do everything different. Cause he's like, you suck. Do it this way. And I'm like, okay, so in the morning, and if I'm getting a phone call, I'm not going to answer it. If I'm not going to look at an email. First thing that I do in the morning is I go out. A guy said, Nathan, I want you to find a nice place, something that you can look at. Like if it's your waterfall and your trees, and I want you to find a place that you can sit. And that's where I sit. And the first thing that I do is I pray. It's important to me.
Okay.
It's probably the most important relationship I've built on planet Earth. Then I do a reading and I read and this whole cycle takes about 17 minutes. If I get a phone call, not going to answer. Nothing. Nobody is getting Nathan. This is my time to give it to something bigger than me, turn it over, and it's my me time. Like I'm going to have a me time. And then another thing that he suggested was have a me day. And so I'm like, a me day? What is a me day? Mm-hmm. He's like, have a me day. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? And so I have certain things I do for a me day. And they're really good. They've all of these things have taught me that I had it all wrong for all of these years.
Sure. But again, we have to learn from these things, right?
Yeah.
Until we get a little bit more balance, a little bit wiser. I love that. And I love that you have a very spiritual side about you. Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind at all.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So I was going to ask you that question, but so for me, I think it's so important for me. I'm in the journey. I'm not really a religious guy. I don't even know what that is. But I'm a spiritual guy and I'm learning what that is. And I'm constantly learning about religious and spiritual, but I'm just going to be me. I'm going to keep it real. My little boy came up to me one time and said, ask questions about God and I'm going to keep it real. So this was funny because my son was like asking about God. He was like, I think he was like 8 or 9. And I just told him it's not me. And then I remember my son had a suit on and he asked me to go to church. And I looked at my son and I can't believe I did this. I regret it. I said, no, thank you. And he went to church. My little boy, this is so bad to probably even say out loud, but it's the truth. And then, some people knocked on my door and this is going to probably be like, oh gosh, but I'm going to keep it real. So they came and knocked on my door. They talked about family together forever. I love that concept. And then they talked about, and it was for my kids. Like I wanted my son and my daughter to know that there is a God and how empty it would be not having a God. And so I wanted them to get that education. And at the end they said, hey, would you go to church? And I said, sure. So I put on a suit and at the time, my wife said, you'll never be consistent. And I was consistent. And still today, I've been going for like 8 years now.
That's awesome.
And it's been amazing because, but I didn't find my God there. I found him through service way before that. I found my God through service. And I just, one, after miracles always been around me, I just have never been able to see them. But during a certain period of 10 years in my life, miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle was happening, and I was able to actually see them. And I was in a position where I couldn't like hear the message. I couldn't see it. And I couldn't feel like the love, light, and joy because I was chasing being number one. I was chasing money, property, and prestige. And it blocked me from everything that was so good. But so now I'm just, I'm learning. I am getting an education, and I think my God's going to love me wherever I go.
Sure.
And I really hope that my son and my daughter can have that, but I don't think it's forced. I don't think I didn't get that until I was 39 years old. And, I think it's an inside job, but I just hope my son and my daughter will get that because, I know what it's done for me, and I think it would be empty to not have that in your life. So empty.
Do you feel like it's helped you in business to have that balance?
I learned how to, this might sound strange, but I learned how to pray, just like how I'm talking to you is how I would talk to, my Heavenly Father, my Lord. I would talk to him like I'm talking to you. And before we did this job at the university, so I had like 30 guys. And I just said, hey, these are all tough guys. I said, let's hold hands for a minute. We just said a quick prayer to do good for this customer. And we did amazing. And I've never done that before. And that was a neat experience. And before I meet a customer, I pray, like, help me to be an assertive communicator. Please help me to be all open, honest, direct, clear, and appropriate. And when I close a customer, I'm like, please let me put the right men on this. Let me do a beautiful job for these people. And I thank them every time I get a customer. And this isn't like an act. This is what I do. This is real. This is Nathan. And I'm not a saint, but I'm a good guy and I'm a right guy. And because of this thing that's so much bigger than me, I have been able to accomplish things that I've always wanted to accomplish that I've never accomplished, like have honor, have integrity, morals, value, principles. I live by them today. And it's made me the man who I am today because of something so much bigger than me. And I am super grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I was able to share that with you.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you were too. Because I feel like sometimes people separate business from things like this. And I love that it's integrated for you and it is a part of who you are and your business, which is really cool.
It is. Like those businessmen in my neighborhood, they're a bunch of tough guys. And I share this with you. So they're a bunch of tough guys. They're like me, but they're good guys. And we, and I know I got to wrap this up, but I wanted to share with you these guys. So they're like, we went downtown, like where all the thugs are and the crime and the ghetto. And I loved it. I can fit in anywhere. And, so we went down there and these guys were starting to, like these people were on drugs, they were boozing, and these men went up there and they were giving prayers out to people, and it was freezing cold. And I watched these guys, all these drug addicts, and they were all lining up to get prayers. And I was like, that's amazing. That's really cool. And I couldn't be in the circle because, I respect what they have to say. There's certain things that you have to earn. You not be a fake, not be a phony. Because there's probably a lot of men that are fakes and phonies, but I want to earn it. So I wasn't able to be participate in that. But I saw that and I was so pumped. My heart was full that day. And I got into my car. I'm like, how can I serve you? What can I do to serve? So they're like, go get a bunch of books. And so I went and got a bunch of books. And I went back to the guys and I said, hey, I got 50 books. I said, let's go back down and let's go give them out. And they're like, okay, Nathan, we'll go with you. So 5 or 6 guys came with me. Oh, but before that, let me tell you something. I was praying for 2 weeks. How am I going to serve? How am I going to serve? And I was speeding on Wasatch Boulevard. I got pulled over. I had a box because when I was praying, they're like, go down to this store and buy 50 books. So I bought these 50 books And for 2 weeks, I'm praying, how am I going to serve you? How am I going to serve you? How can I be of maximum use and service? I'm speeding on Wasatch Boulevard. I get pulled over, and this big cop comes out with a big mustache and these like wings right up here. He's he's just like, he's been around. And he comes around and he's like, Mr. Nelson, you were speeding. And I said, I know. And, go ahead, do what you got to do. And so he was right, and I was like, look, I said, I got these books, and I promise you, I've read them 4 times, and I don't know much about this book, but I promise you it has love, light, and joy in it. Would you read it? And he's like, yeah, I'll read it. And that was my first giveaway. So, and the cop said, you know what, Nathan, today's going to be a good day. Have you ever had a warning? And I wasn't looking for a payoff, but I got a warning. It was the first warning I ever had. And he took the book and he left because he had another call. But then the next day we went back down and we gave all 49 books away. I was giving out like coffees and dollars, and the guys told me, you don't need to give coffee, you don't need to give cash. I just wanted to have all these people around us,
That's so cool.
It was neat. And I know I got to wrap this up, but I wanted to, and it ain't easy being a right guy. It ain't,
No, it's work.
It ain't easy being a right guy. Telling people no is like a no, thank you, or people no. It's the greatest accomplishment in my life, Jen, is being a right guy. I don't know how long I can be a right guy, but it's the greatest accomplishment in my life. If you've never had it and you get it, it's like you want to keep it.
I love that.
Yeah. So
it's a good message right there.
Yes. And I do want to just, I wanted to ask you one question before we wrap this up. I don't know if you have faith or if you believe in something bigger than Jen, and if you incorporate that with family and business. Yeah, absolutely. Always have believed in God. Same thing. I've seen too many miracles not to in my own personal life. So yeah, it's definitely, I am a spiritual person, not religious, but spiritual. And there is no way I could be where I'm at in my life, have the husband I have, or anything else in my life without God. I know that without a doubt in my mind. So yeah, it's a huge part of who I am. Do you bring him in business matters? Absolutely. But I do it very personalized. Like it's internal. I've never done prayers like you have with my people, but because I feel like I want to honor everyone where they're at and let them be where they're at. So I just have my own way of having my relationship with God. I respect that. Do you trust God? Yeah, absolutely. How do you trust God? I surrender everything. I know that there's nothing out there that I have control over. That's what I know. How do you know when you're doing God's will and not Jen's? Ooh, that's a good question. I should probably ponder on that a little more, because oftentimes as a business owner, you have to be go, go, go. And I probably should be focusing more on what God's will is, but I don't know that I do it as much as you do. So that's a good example to me. So you said control. In business, sometimes you think you have control when you have none at all. So yeah, none. Do you feel like you have control in your business? No. Okay. I mean, to some degree, but not like I really genuinely had to learn so many lessons about how little control I actually had in this life. I'm grateful for that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any like off the wall question that you want to ask me? Where did the Cowboy name come from? Did I tell you this the other night? No, you have not. That's why I'm curious. This is crazy. So my company's Your Home Construction. Okay. My DBA is Concrete Cowboy Utah because of the name. So I had a friend of mine from England said, Nathan, you're the Concrete Cowboy. I said, why is that? And he goes, because in America, it means a man that can do anything he puts his mind to. Yes, that fits you perfectly. And then in England, it means a man that knows nothing about nothing. And he had me laughing. And have you ever heard of the Piano Guys? I don't know. But so they got 1 billion views on YouTube. They do the violin. They fill up the Energy Solutions building. And I ended up building him a beautiful, beautiful pickleball court. Cool. And no, I gave him a light for his pickleball court. Sorry, I do a lot of pickleball courts. I gave him a light, and he said, out of nowhere, he called me up and he's like, I had a dream. I had a dream, come to my studio. Studio was cool, like what you see here with all the soundboards. It was filled with prints. And these guys perform inaugurations in front of presidents, and they fill up 20,000 seats. And he's like, I made you a song. And so they made me a song, and then I threw it all over the radio and TV and all and everything that we do because it's got a good jam to it. It's got a good jingle because it's all about that song is we do what we say what we mean, and we don't say it mean. It's all about love and service. It's all about fair market price. It's all about the highest quality, and it just says who I am. But at that time in my life, when he said, "A man that know nothing about nothing," he was right. This was just decoration for a while.
For sure.
I know how to use it now.
I love it. That's a great story about where that name came from.
So I just wanted to thank you for your time. And
thanks for having me. This is fun.
This has been beautiful. Yeah. And if you want to follow me, Jen will probably say what she wants to, but my name's Nathan Nelson, and I am the owner of Concrete Cowboy of Utah. And my Facebook page is Nathan Nelson. And I have Concrete Cowboy Utah for all of my other social handles. And we would love it if you would give us a like, a follow, and a share. Such a great honor to be able to have Jennifer on this podcast, to be able to educate the young, the middle, the old about business, about life, about people, about connections. Please give us a like, follow, and share. We want to reach out to as many people as we can, to as many young entrepreneurs that we can, to let them know that anything is possible, and whatever your heart desires, you will grow towards. So please give us a like, follow, and a share. And if you do that, just maybe on your next concrete job, we'll give you $500, but I just got to see it. $500 off, just like, follow, and share. And hit me up, send me a message. Direct message me.
It's not about us, it's all about you.
Love and service, that's what we do.
Concrete Cowboy. Concrete Cowboy.
That's what we do.